Hi, this is Kathy DeHart with DeHart Construction Services, located right here in the Inland Empire. You know, we're a family-owned business, and today our youngest member of our family is visiting. Kinsey, can you say hi?
Hi.
Now, Kinsey, I have an important question for you. Where do you think food comes from?
A market store?
You're right. But before it gets to a market, we have farmers and dairies and all kinds of other people who make food. Do you remember hearing that?
Uh-huh.
And then we have people who have to keep the food cold.
And guess what?
What?
I remember we getting strawberries at a little market.
Well, Papa and we work with companies that make food and keep food cold and gets it to the grocery stores.
That's cool.
DCS is a proud supporter of the American Dream. For all of your cold storage or food facility needs, visit our website at chillwithdehart.com. Once again, chillwithdehart.com. Serving all of California, CSLB 949062.
Hello, everybody.
What's up, everybody? Let's try this again. So I know we were just on, if you guys were watching for whatever platform you guys were watching on, we have some technical difficulties, but we want to make sure this brother's voice is heard. It's important to us that we get this out there because Latinos play a huge role right now in what's going on in the conservative movement, the conservative culture. So this is Brother Tommy. Before we get started, Jess was like, let me introduce him. This is my homie, not yours. No. So I'm going to let Jess introduce him. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, this is a great brother. He's out in Tennessee right now, Brother Tommy Vallejos. I know this brother for several years. We met at the White House, and we hit it off immediately. He came up to me. I remember we were in front of the White House. Everybody's out there in our suits and all that. And he comes up to me. He tells me, hey, I'm from the barrio too, hey, and all of that. So me and him started chopping up, and we've been in contact ever since. And then he was recently just running for office out in Tennessee. So I just want to introduce my brother in Christ is my brother Tommy Vallejos right here.
I think he froze.
Tommy. Yeah, he's a good brother. He's a Chicano. He's a soldier for Christ, and he's doing big things out there in Tennessee. Hopefully he's going to run for office again. So he'll be back on right now. But when he comes back on, hopefully he runs again in Tennessee. Hopefully this next time he can win because I think he said he barely lost by like 50 votes or something like that out there. So
how did you meet him, brother? How did you meet him?
I forgot what event. We were at the White House for some event. It was when Trump was signing. I think it was Trump was signing some Latino initiative to give us like something for Latinos. I forgot what it was, but I think it was that. And then we were there. We were a little group of Latinos, and then so that's when he already knew who I was, and he came up to me and he knew my story and all that, and he was like, hey, Jesse, I'm from the barrio too, and this and that, and I used to be around gangs and this and that. He started just telling me, and we're like, wow, cool. It was cool to be talking like find another Chicano from the hood right there at the White House, and like how he was saying that it just shows that we could do big things. We could grow, you know what I mean? With all things are possible.
Yeah, I was talking to him backstage, and just his testimony, bro, and people don't understand when you're the amount of pushback when you're a Latino. Does anybody ever watch Selena? Like, if you're not, well, you weren't born in Mexico, they're giving you pushback. You ain't Latino enough. And you're here in America, you're not American enough, right? And here we are as conservatives. Normally, they would say that we don't look like conservatives, Republicans. So we're in this weird space, right? But we're standing for our godly moral values. So that's where we place ourselves. We understand that we're standing for the things of God. And at the end of the day, it's not about, like Jess said, I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm a Biblican, right? I vote my conservative godly values. And I think that's where we fall into place because it's just a weird situation to be in when you got Mexico right here, right? Mexico's right there. And everybody's looking at you like, yeah, you're coconut. And then you come and you're like, look, I'm an American. And they're like, no, you're not American enough. You're like, where do I stand at? But we stand with the things of God. And it just so happened that we align more with the conservative movement. right? That's where we
Yeah.
align with. So that's where we rock. That's where we hold fast. That's where we draw the line. And it's just it's a beautiful place. You meet brothers like Tommy, you know what I mean, that are doing the same thing, that grew up in the hood
Exactly.
and are representing as well, right? It's just
Yeah,
pretty.
that's why that was such a blessing to see a brother, because I always felt out of place a little bit when I'm around, especially at the White House. You know, even from my past, everybody knows I was in prison, all that kind of stuff. And to see a brother that was the same, similar to me, that's why me and Tommy have always hit it off. You back, brother? Tommy,
Hey, I don't know what happened. I tried
there
to,
you
I
are.
got kicked off. Yeah, there you go.
You're freezing a little bit, but maybe
Man,
it's
I
a
don't know what
reception.
happened. The devil go.
You're, huh?
I
There you
have
go.
no idea. I got knocked off.
Okay, all right. So yeah, brother. So
Okay.
for those who
All
don't
right.
know you, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Well, praise God. It seems like the devil don't want us about saving America. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. Born and raised.
Hmm. I think it's your connection, eh? Your Wi-Fi or something. Hello. Hey, Rock.
What's up?
No, but anyways, anyways, when he comes back this weekend, this Saturday, everybody that's in Southern Cali, we're having a rally, an event at San Dimas in San Diego. So make sure everybody tries to go out there, because they're out there because I don't know if you guys should have seen it, or if you haven't, that there was a grown man, there was a 17-year-old girl was in the shower. She came out of the shower and she seen a naked man in there. So we're going to be out there. What's up,
Right.
Tommy?
All right, man. I don't know what's happening, but I hear y'all. I hear y'all loud and clear.
It's you keep like freezing. I think it's your Wi-Fi signal.
Well, I'm gonna have to pay my bill, but so you want
Go
me to
ahead,
start?
brother. Tell us about yourself.
All right. Well, we're sorry for all those folks that are missing it. We're in and out. It's we're trying to get it right. I apologize. But I was born and raised in a place called Roswell, New Mexico, in a barrio named Chihuahuita. I've been there since 1863. My mother raised a family of 9, and it was hardship there in the barrio. You know, being raised up there, and during that time, from the 60s all the way through the 80s, a lot of turmoil. Lost 2 brothers and a stepfather to gang violence. 3 brothers to the penitentiary, and a little sister given 39 years. And you know, of course, one of my brother was going to prison 3 days before he was going for murder, got sniped out. And another brother that was in the penitentiary at the time had 2 brothers at the same time for in murder. And so
Froze up again, brother. He has a amazing story. But like I was saying, this Saturday in Santa, and the girl, she said she came out of the shower and that there was a naked man there, and then she even complained to the YMCA, and they didn't even basically care. Basically told her tough that that's the rules, that men could go in there, like, because, and then she was thinking it was because if they had the surgery, then like that. But no, it says that they could, any man that identifies or whatever could go in there. So the girl came out crying and all that, saying that there's kids in there and all kinds of. So they were out there Wednesday. They were out there yesterday. Had big crowd out there protesting. So then we're coming out there. Us, Freedom Revival, and Rooted Wings. We're going to be out there with some pastors out there from San Diego. We're going to be out there protesting this, because we got to stop it, because this is not a local issue. It's going to be happening all over the nation. We know it's only going to get worse and worse, so we need to stand up to it now. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, no, you're right, bro. This is a national thing. I really I don't know why people aren't up in arms. It's a straight attack on our children's spiritual lives. The devil knows his time is up soon. I know we hear that a lot, but I don't think people really focus on it too much. It's like when you're in prison, bro, and you know you got life. You think you care about somebody else's life when you know where you're already going? You're taking many people down as with you as you can. You're ruining as many lives as with you can because you had nothing to live for. The devil knows his time is up. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to get our children. He's trying to attack families. He's trying to break families through the children at times. And parents, godly parents, parents that stand for Christ, it's time to stand up now. It's time to stand up against what they're doing, man. I mean, this is just not right, bro. It's not right. And everybody needs to get involved. This is a national thing. And we're heading down there. A lot of people are heading down there. People in our San Diego chapter is going to be there as well. And they're going to give pushback. From what I heard, they're going to be closed, right? Because they said that they were, you know what's going on, bro? Is they realized, and I'm going to make a video about this when I leave, they realized that Lexit gets stuff done. And that's what we do. Everywhere we go, we make an impact. And they don't want to have the Boys and Girls Club have people coming in and see us out there, knowing that we're going to educate the parents. We're going to educate and get stories out there. They don't want that. So of course they're going to shut down because guess what? We make stuff happen. That's what we do. You know what I mean? So we gotta stand up and give it pushback. What's up, bro? You back?
Go ahead and continue your story, brother Tommy, if you can. He has a bad reception, but A-Rod,
Bro, I don't know what's going on here, man.
There we go. I hear you now.
Hey.
Go ahead.
No, man, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
I must have a bad connection here or something, brother.
The devil, bro. The devil's a liar.
Go ahead, brother. While we got you on, go ahead and go with your story.
Hey, Jess, why don't we go to Instagram? You want to get him on Instagram?
Well, I don't know what just finished with it. Let's see. Hold up. But so imagine how far we've come, A-Rod. We went from, remember, the alphabet agenda. We went from, oh, we just want to get married and all that, to look now,
Right.
bro, now where we can't even watch TV, not even the Disney Channel, Sesame Street, without there bombarding us with all this LGBT whatever stuff all the time. And now they're trying to make men go in women's stuff and all that. That's why you can't mess with sin, because it's never satisfied. It's going to keep going. The next on the agenda is going to be pedophilia, bestiality. You know what I mean? They're trying to make America into Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's even more disgusting, bro, is they don't care about women's rights, bro. Where about the women with all of this? But go ahead, bro.
Brother, I'm so sorry. I had to change a new device, and it looks like I got better reception. And
looks like you're good. Go ahead, brother. Tell us your story.
All right. Let me just go back, man. I think I done said it 20 times. Con permiso. Like I said to the audience, I apologize. It's at my end, not on Lex's end, because Lex has always got it going on. So anyway, born in a place called Roswell, New Mexico, to a family of 9, lost 3 brothers, to the violence in the street, and a stepfather, and it messed our family up. In 1980 would be the worst year of our life. Lose a brother in 1980, January 3rd, be killed, and another brother be involved in a penitentiary riot where 33 inmates would be killed. Just a tragedy of life, and it wouldn't be too long because of some things that went on the street. My stepfather would be one of the casualties and be killed. And my only out was to join the Army in 1980. And fast forward, I get married in 82, and in 1987, changed my life forever, become a Christian while stationed in Korea. And been preaching the gospel for 34 years, this September 35, and live in Clarksville, Tennessee now. I tell people I'm a Mexican hillbilly, serving the Lord. I preach a church, associate pastor at a church called Mosaic, and a multicultural church. Reaching out to those that need Jesus. And this weekend was at the prison preaching the gospel. So, and once again, sorry for the technical glitches there.
It's all good. Go ahead, A-Rod.
Yeah, no, bro. It was such a good conversation. We're going to get into again. So I'm seeing a lot of Latinos standing up, and it's not just your everyday Latinos, right? We for how many years people have seen politics. I know my mom used to read the paper and she'd be like, "Look at me, home, you're conservative," and I'm like, "Oh, am I, mom?" But I'm like, "How come nobody looks like me?" You know what I mean? Like, how come I don't got no representation? And that's what we were missing, at least when it comes to Latino community. You always had certain Latinos stand up, but I mean, I'm not trying to knock Ted Cruz. The dude's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but not Latinos that came from a certain hood, right? And certain, so there was no representation. So being that there was no representation, bro, why did you align with the Conservative Party? What made
Well,
you align with it?
Well, I tell people my all I've ever known, my family growing up, everybody voted Democrat. I remember growing up, my abuelita and even my mom would have those plates with Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Later on,
Right,
it would
right.
be later on it'd be Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King. You have and you, all everybody, and so it's just that way. All the Latinos, everybody we're Democrats. They're for the poor people. Well, if you think about it, they kept you in a state of poverty, you know, depending on the state, depending on the needs of the government. I remember as a little boy going and getting our teeth checked, getting free clothes and getting all this. And it's the Democrats doing this. We're pobre, we're poor. And it's like a poor man's mentality. And so when I came in the military, first president I ever voted for was Ronald Reagan because he gave me my biggest pay raise. And it wasn't because I was a Christian or anything, but it's because I began to see he believed in a strong military, cared about the soldiers. And man, I seen he was from California, man. I said, man, there's a lot of Latinos there, man. And so anyway, I liked what he talked about. And then when I became a Christian, man, it really opened me up that it was a biblically based view that I had. It was a world view, and it was all biblically based. And so I believed in the right to life. Marriage between a man and a woman. I've been married for 40 years. And so I think about it. My son was born with a birth defect, you know, but we didn't abandon him. God gave him a miracle. Today he's married and doing well, 30 years old. And so, and I believe the party that stood with the Israel was the party I wanted to stand with. And so that's my values. First of all, are based biblically, and it just so happens the Republican Party aligns closer to my values.
100%, bro. 100%. When we were having the conversation this last time, I kind of identified to it like we were talking about because my mom as well, she broke that mold, right? You talked about it, and I want to talk about that real quick. There's some rules you said you had in your household, right?
Yeah.
What are those rules that you hold dearly? And Chicanos, Latinos, that if you're listening, pull out a pencil, because if you're a dad, these are the rules you need to place down right here. So write it down. So what's some of the rules that you have, bro?
Yeah, I tell people all the time. You know, I grew up in a family where there was kind of guidelines. Be respecto and everything. But really, everybody was partying, living a crazy life. And so when I got saved, I had some rules. So I got two daughter-in-laws and a son-in-law. And I used to always tell them, all right, we got rules in this family. Number one, we're Christians. You've never seen your daddy do drugs. You never seen your daddy beat mama, cuss, and cheat and run around. I'm not perfect, but you ain't seen me live that sinful life. I said, so number one, if you're gonna marry somebody you love, but they got to be a Christian. Number two, they got to be a conservative. They got to have values just like dad. And sure enough, we're working on the German right now. I got a blonde hair, blue eyed daughter-in-law. And so I told her she gives me Mexican hillbilly grandbabies. And then I got a 6'4" African-American son-in-law, and he gave me some Soul Train grandbabies. And my daughter and he loves Jesus. He was actually my son-in-law, who is African-American, was actually my treasurer in my campaign, in my last 4 campaigns. And then my daughter-in-law, who's from Germany, she knows where we stand on our values, but she comes from a socialist country like Germany. And so we're working on her right now. But yeah, you got to keep them values. And my kids all go to church, love God. And so it's a beautiful thing. I got an older daughter that we're working on right now. She's straight from God, but I've never veered from I don't compromise in my values. I don't compromise in my faith.
Real quick, I'm gonna let Jess go, bro. I just did a video on this, and what you just talked about, I don't think anybody knows how impactful that is. I just did a video talking about a survey that went out. saying that the reason why a lot, you know how like they say that people that grew up in church, when they grew up, when they start a family, they always, a lot of them come back to the Lord. You know how they say that?
Yes.
Well, a lot of them are not. And what they're doing when they're not coming back to the Lord, they're getting married to people that and they're adopting their values. And that's why a lot of people are not serving God, and a lot of people, like the next generation, is not keeping the values that they grew up. So, bro, what you're doing in your household is exactly what we need to be doing to push against and keep God's not values. I mean, the word of God alive, but not only that, keep the conservative movement going.
I think one of the things that's missing in the Latino culture and in cultures across America is the legacy. What legacy are you leaving your family? You know, when you go to the cemetery and you see a tombstone, you see so-and-so beloved father, beloved son, and you see year they were born and the year they died. Okay, but that's not what they're going to remember. They're going to remember that dash between the year you were born and year. That's your legacy. That dash is what are you leaving? What impact? And so my grandkids, I want them to. I don't want them just to be a dash. I want it to be a legacy that we're leaving. You know, I don't come from pedigree of pastors. I don't got. You know, when people tell me, you know, man, I got a lot of skeletons in my closet. I tell, well, I come from a haunted house, man. My life is a haunted house. And if I can do it, you can do it. And that's the important thing. So we don't spill that knowledge, biblical knowledge, and that faith based to our families. And we need to. I'm leaving them a legacy, and I want them the legacy to know that their dad was not a borracho. Their dad wasn't a womanizer. He wasn't doing líneas or gangbang. You know what his dad was doing? Their dad was praying. He was loving our mama, taking her and treating her right, opening the door and loving her. And most of all, he was praising God, reading his word, and living a life of faith.
That's it, bro. Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, brother, I was going to ask you is, what made you decide to start getting into politics, brother? Because I know for me, myself, what got me, because I was never, you know, me and, you know, my past and all that. I would have never thought I got into politics. I was even more into sports and all that than that. You know what I mean? But what got me was the fake media. The fake media, you might say, made Lex, I had to get involved because they were just fake media, just propaganda for the left 24/7. So that's what prompted me was the left and then my faith. But what made you get into politics, brother?
Well, let me just tell you, I know that being in the military, I believed in a strong military. I fought in war. I've been in war and peace, and you know, I was a drill sergeant for 3 years at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and I'd see these young cats come in. I was already a Christian, already involved, you know, voting. We always voted. We did absentee ballot. But when I got out of the military, I remember those guys coming in. They all came from all different walks of life, from the Appalachian Trail. They came from inner city Detroit, Spokane, Washington. They came from Needles, California. They came from Yuma, Texas. They came from everywhere, Latino, Puerto Rican, everything. But everyone had a different walk of life. And I always, even as a drill sergeant, I would speak the word, man. I walked my faith out. And I would lead people to Jesus, but I noticed a lot of them didn't have no faith or were not engaged in anything. They didn't care who was president. And at that time, Clinton was the president, and he was trying to force gays on us. He was trying to force the gays. So they ended up doing a rule called "Don't ask, don't tell." And so I almost got kicked out of the military because I refused to, you know, to compromise who I was. So when I got out, when I got stationed at my last duty station at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the home of the 101st, and I came here to, you know, to get out and do ministry. I began to see how many Latinos were lost and not engaged. So I got involved in a local mayor race, and I began to do commentary and just get involved. But you know what I noticed? I was trying to help Latinos, but I seen the Muslims hijacking the immigrant message. I seen gays hijacking it, and I said, listen, nobody cares. I said, I'm for legal immigration. I'm not for illegal. If you come to me and you don't have no papeles. If I lead you to Jesus, praise the Lord. But if the immigration comes and you got to go, at least you're taking Jesus with you. But here's the important thing about what I just said was I'm a Christian. I was a stranger land. I helped you, but that doesn't mean I'm going to compromise my belief system. You came illegally in the country, go over to the back of the line, go back home. But I seen that and I said, I can't take it. So I got involved. I decided to run for county commissioner in 2010. I was already involved in politics, doing voter drives. But then I ran for office, Jesse, and I became the first Latino county commissioner in the history of Tennessee in 2010. And so the rest, I was the 2-term. I was the first Latino to be reelected, first Latino mayor pro tem of any major county in the state of Tennessee. And so, it's been engaged is what kept me, because we got to win back our country. And let me tell you something, if we're the largest minority group, and in 10 years we become the largest group in America, larger than whites, it's not about a color thing. It's about saving the Constitution, saving the future of our nation. And that's the value of who we are. And so that's why I've got engaged, the future generations.
Amen. But I know you're probably happy to see now, like Lex said and us, that there's a lot more Latino conservatives, and the numbers will just keep rising because they see, like us, like we have a lot to do with that, Lex said. Not all of it, but we have a lot to do with the Latinos switch, because they see us, we're down to earth, we love God, and we're showing them. We're just putting a spotlight on the Democrat Party, because most Latinos, they don't even know really that much about politics or things, or you know what I mean? So we're showing them, you're pro-life, right? You're against this man and women's rescue, right? You're pro-Second Amendment, right? You're stronger borders, just every way. And the Latinos are, yes, we're conservative, you know what I mean? They're seeing us and they like us because they see we're from the hood, brother. So we're doing good, bro. So we just got to keep it going. And but talking about all that, I want to get your thoughts. What's your thoughts on the border right now?
Well, let me tell you, but that's important because, most people, when they look at a Latino, oh, he's for immigrant, he's for the border, he's for open border. Oh, he's Latino, he's for illegal immigration. No, we're not. And if you ask most Latinos about that, they're not. So that's why I applaud organizations just like yourself. I applaud, what you're doing, because you're putting a voice to a face. And because most times there's just a face, a brown face. There's just a Latino face. And Latinos, we're a big group, okay? We're a big group. And so while the biggest group, of course, is Mexican Americans. And so here's the thing about the commonality in Latinos is our language. Our culture's different. Our food's different. Hey, some dance the merengue, some dance the cumbia, and some listen to different. But let me tell you something. One thing that brings Latinos together is that our values. We need to protect our borders. In Zapata County, Trump won a county where there was no, listen to this, when he won it in 2010, there was no representation there of a Republican Party at all. He won that county where it was over 90% Latino. Starr County, he kept on, the border counties were turning to Trump because they knew that what he was doing was protecting their homeland, protecting the frontera. And now we have a president who has just allowed everybody, alone today, one of the sectors, 12,000 people came through in one day alone in McAllen. In one area, you go down, you can go further down to go down to Brownsville, you go to Loretto, all along the border. They're coming. El Paso, Biden goes down there and they clean up the street. I'm seeing Democrats saying, I will never vote Democrat again because he doesn't understand. He thinks we all want this open border. There's chaos. Trump had the border secured. Trump was doing things. Listen, if 62% of our border agents are Latino and they see the chaos, what makes the Democrat think that we're for this chaos? We're not for chaos. We're for legal crossing. We want to protect our borders. And you and I think about that, because if we don't speak our voice, who's going to speak it for us?
Amen, brother. Especially like you said, talking about El Paso, bro. I seen the video, the footage over there, and El Paso, it's horrendous, bro. You see all these, it looks like LA, bro. LA is all full of homeless all over everybody. It's like that, but over there, it's all minorities. It's all illegals right there. They're all on the streets and all that. And how you said, Creepy Joe, how the day before his visit, they went and they cleaned it all up. And then they say he didn't even meet with no immigrants when he was over there. So what the heck was the point? It was a total, just a photo op,
in the media,
total dog and pony show. Yeah, just a total dog and pony show, just trying to manipulate minorities. That's what they are, because they don't want that, bro. It was already over he broke the record. Over 2 million illegals came over last year, and it's just wide open. They cause this border crisis. They don't care about it. And it's disgusting, bro, because they come into our cities. They're
Yeah.
taking our jobs. They're going to our schools and all of that. But we have so many homeless problems with Americans right now, let alone how things are with everything. And you're bringing in all these illegals, especially we didn't even talk about the terrorism aspect. There's human trafficking going by,
Look at
the
the gangbangers.
drugs, all of that over there.
Well, look at the MS-13 members that are sneaking across. Look at the fentanyl that's crossing. The cartel are controlling. They're making billions, not millions, billions, because they don't care about you. Because once they cross you across the border and the coyote does his job, that's it. And then here's the other thing about this. Think about this. They're in New York. They're being housed. They're taking advantage. They don't want to leave the hotel. They're charging some $400 or $500 a night. And they're having sex in stairwells. There's total chaos. And you know what it's telling me is that, listen, they're taking advantage of our taxpayer dollars. We're giving them health care. We got people in our veterans, veteranos that I know that are struggling, homeless on the street, but we're housing them. That's a shame.
Exactly.
Creepy.
Yeah,
joke.
they're trying to give them even insurance and all that kind of stuff over here in California. And we're like, what? There's so many Americans that don't have insurance or having to pay an arm and a leg, and you're trying to give them. They already even give them free college and all that, and they're trying to make them vote next. Watch, that's next on the agenda. Mark my words, write it down. Remember, I'm telling you this. Next going to be on the agenda for the Democrats at one time. They're going to push for illegals to vote, and they're going to try to say, "Oh, you're racist" and all that if you're against it. And all.
Yeah,
And
right.
that was the plan all along. That's why they're having all these open borders. They could all come in, and then they're going to try to make it, which is all about power. It's all about fixing the election. And like, there's this one. He's a left-leaning Latino. He's pretty big on the left-leaning seat. And we were debating. I don't know if you've seen it. We were debating. And me and A-Rod were debating with these leftist Latinos. And so that's all this dude does is all the time. He's a righteous leftist, bashing Trump, bashing Republicans. He does videos and all that kind of stuff, right? It's all he's doing all the time. He's talking about politics. And we come to find out that that dude, he's a socialist. His name is Alex, the socialist, right? So he's all pushing socialism and all this stuff. We came out, he's an illegal, bro. So that's why when we were out there arguing, we're talking about America, and he's like, America, read this book. America was never great. And we're right to say, what? America's the greatest country in the world. And he's like bashing America and all. And look, he's trying to get all these Latinos to hate Republicans and all this. And this dude can't even vote. I'm like, now we found, like, imagine you're all over here, all making all these videos, all talking about politics, all this, and you can't even vote. But you see what they're doing? Him and a bunch of other Latinos that are just like him, and they have big platforms. They're illegals, eh? So they don't care about any Chicanos or any American-born Latinos here. They don't care. They're only doing it for their own agenda because they're illegals, because he wants to be able to vote and he wants to be able to do whatever. So he's pushing that leftist ideology. And see what they're doing is they'll use our pride and our heritage and our race. They're always talking about brown pride and that, yeah, indigenous and whatever, you know what I mean? Oh, the white supremacy and just everything racism. They're doing that to manipulate Latinos. Yeah, brown pride.
They're putting a spin on it to manipulate their thought process. You see, we live in the greatest country, Jesse. God afforded us the opportunity to do what we're doing today. And let me tell you why Trump wasn't liked. He wasn't liked because, you know, people just like you and I, we answered the call. When I seen you at the White House, I said, if a vato like that can go to the White House, what else can we do? I opened up for President Trump in 2017, in March of 2017. He had a big rally, and I was asked to come and open up. And let me tell you something. I remember going to the West Wing to go meet with Mercedes, and she was working in the back, and she took it back. And I looked at all these Latinos in the back working, man. And so there was this one Marine. He was standing there, and we had to put our phones in this box. And then he tells us, we finished talking, and then he goes, man, who y'all here to see? What do y'all here to do? I said, we're here to speak about the values of what we can do as Latinos in Tennessee. He goes, I've been here for 5 years. I've never seen as many Latinos come in through these doors. And you know, before Trump, and now, you know what that told me was that he was visual, he was observant, and that's what Trump did. I went back there there was all them Latinos, Jennifer Korn and Dr. Ramirez and all them Latinos, Mercedes, and it was so many people working. Yeah, they were all back there, man. And then, of course, even Trump had an aide who was a Latina from, from Ecuador. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I tell people all the time, if Trump was racist, I didn't see it. When you and I were there for Hispanic Heritage, you and I took a picture with Jesus and here was Joy Villa and all these Latinos. I'm thinking, man, let me tell you something. This joker ain't racist. I knew that alone. It's the media trying to throw a spin to take us off the path of where we're going.
Amen. Remember? Yeah, every time most of the time, all the times I went into the White House, I was in there with hundreds of Latinos, bro. We were hundreds deep. And yeah, that's what I used to always say. The fake media doesn't want to see that, bro, because there was hundreds of Latinos in there. And what we were doing, we were in there praying, bro. We were in there praying, right there, worshiping God in there. The fake media doesn't want to use it because they just like using race to manipulate us, brother. But I wanted to ask you, how was Trump right about China, Russia, Ukraine, and NATO?
Well, I did 21 years in the Army. I served in Europe for 3 years. I've been to Ukraine to preach the gospel. I've been all across Europe to preach. And so I got lots of friends that retired generals, whether it was a 1-star, 2-star, or even 4-star. And I remember going to DC all the time, hearing, the politics, trying to go out on lobby on behalf of our military base. And I would hear the different pundits speak, even whether it was General Petraeus or it was General Campbell or whether all these. And one thing that I can tell you is that before Trump, nobody would speak about NATO lacking funding. Nobody would speak about how corrupt Ukraine was. Nobody would speak how China was taking advantage of America. Nobody would speak about any of that. And so when Trump came in, Trump highlighted NATO needs to give more money. I trained NATO. I was at Hornsfeld, Germany, and we used to get the NATO forces to come in, and we call them the Blue Force, and train. And I always noticed Americans were always giving more money. We built. I mean, at one time in Germany, we had millions there. When I left, I think there's probably 70,000 Americans there now. We built multi-million-dollar, and they would, give us a little something. But I noticed that Trump came in. He said, we need NATO to take more responsibility. We need to talk about China taking advantage of our economy, taking advantage, stealing our intellectual secrets. And then he talked about Ukraine. I remember him telling the current president in the White House, you need to get ready. You need to get smart. Man, I'm trying to arm you. But yet he was more, his country was totally more concerned about Hunter Biden doing all the gas deals and all this crazy. But Trump talked about everything that's happened because let me tell you something. If Trump had been in, they wouldn't have got Crimea. But under Obama, they got Crimea. So Trump was right about all our military presence in Europe. And now we're seeing, because here's the problem that we got, Jesse, is all our military supplies. I got friends of mine that are retired military and they're security guards in Bahrain and Qatar. And we got strategic stuff. It's not a national secret. I'm not releasing none, but we're ready. It's been known. Well, you know what? We've let a lot of our stuff go out and we're giving Ukraine, and even the generals and the admirals say, if we go to war, we don't got enough supplies for ourselves. Trump tried to prevent all this and nobody would listen. Now everybody realized Trump was right. Trump was right.
Amen. It just shows how great Trump was. Like I said, imagine me, bro. Ex-gang member, ex-convict in the White House. You at your past, right? And he lets you speak at a Trump rally. You lead off the rally. He has you out there speaking. That just shows that what a great guy Trump was, brother. But I want to get your thoughts. So where do we go from here, bro? Where do we go? The Republican Party and the conservative Latinos.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I run an organization here. I'm the chairman of Latinos for Tennessee. We were founded in about 10 years ago, and our namesake came from a guy named Alberto Gonzalez, the first Latino attorney general under the Bush administration. Chicano, born in Humble, Texas, to parents who didn't speak English. And dad never drove. He didn't have electricity in his house, so he was in 11th grade. But he ended up going to one of the highest offices in the land. And he always talks about how his mom, for all his years, used to make tortillas and blanquillos for him every day, and papas. And that when she came, his father died, and he tells the story. He's a good friend of mine. He said when he was in the White House, he said she said, Mom, I'm going to go, and I want you to go see President Bush. He said, okay. So he got up early that morning, and all his life, his mama had always got up. And so he got out of bed, he smelled food, and there is mama, a little señorita, real short,
And
4'8",
he's real short
making
too.
tortillas.
I met him, bro.
and
I
make-
met him at the White House.
Yeah.
I met him
yeah, he
right
was
there in the
with
food
us.
area when we were eating. I met him. I was right there, Jennifer Korn, because I always seen him when he was in the Bush administration. I used to see him on TV where, and I'm right there in the White House. I think I was eating, you know me. And Jennifer Korn calls me, Jesse. Eh? I'm like, what? She's come meet him, and I go, and it was him. Bro, I walked on, I'm like, oh wow, that was
Yeah,
cool.
well, he's the dean of law here at Belmont University. He lives here in Nashville, so he partners with us a lot. He gave us our names. So he said the future of Latinos, you know, is bright as long as we understand, you know, who we are and where we're going. And so I've taken a lot of wisdom. So where we go from here is important because Latino vote has been changing. Think about this. We got a Republican mayor in McAllen, Texas, where all across Latinos are winning. We got, you know, Luna's in there. We got Latinas in there. We got Salazar in there. We got Latinos that taking us out. We got Hernandez. Ray Hernandez is a state representative in Georgia, and he was at the White House with us. So we got Latinos that are taking. And so what's happening? We go from here. Latinos, we're gaining ground because Latinos are coming alive because of Lexa. You're out there spreading the good news. Others are out there spreading good. Latino for Tennessee. We're going to have a gathering on Tuesday. The governor is going to be our keynote speaker. Steve Cortez, who you and him shared the stage in Nevada. He now lives in Chattanooga. He's going to join us, and we're going to have a great time. Nilsa Alvarez, who does great things, is going to be there. Just a lot of great people. But here's the important thing is your message. I'll never forget seeing you in the White House, and it's because of you that Latinos are being awakened. The real Lexus is on the move. And that's why I kept on keeping an eye on this. Man, that vato's got it going on. No, look, I'm 60 years old, and I want to keep doing. I don't ever want to stop doing what I'm doing. But I'm so excited that the next generation, and you're inspiring the next generation. When you go to Turning Point and you get on that stage, you're inspiring next Latinos to come up there. Whether it's a vato from the barrios of Fullerton or Whittier, or whether it's somebody from Arizona, Tucson, or whether it's a Tejano, or even a Puerto Riqueño or a Cubano. But let me tell you something. Where are we going from here? If DeSantis can turn Dade County, first time in 40 years, Republican, if he can get Latinos, Puerto Ricans to vote Republican, if he can get them, let me tell you, we're gaining ground. And I can only imagine in 2 years that we get back to White House and we went back to Senate because we're going somewhere. Listen, if we got a Latino attorney general in Virginia, it's telling me something. If we can change the dynamics of what we did just in the midterm and 4 years ago, much more is to come. The Latinos vote is looking brighter, and the sleeping giant is no longer asleep. It's been awakened and is looking at conservative values in a whole different light.
We just need to get McConnell and these rhinos out, bro. And the Republican Party, hopefully, they could start doing better, bro, because they just frustrate us. You know how that is, brother. So
No, I
hopefully
do.
that.
Well, I think Jesse, I think the thing about it is right now, there's a deadline coming on the national debt, and they reached the debt ceiling. They got to understand, what are we going to do? Are we going to raise it? And so we got to stick to our guns. The House has got to stick to guns because we're at a 32 trillion in indebtedness. We're in debt. China owns 14% of our debt. And could you imagine if they called in that debt? And not only that, listen, we're borrowing more for socialist problems, and socialist problems don't work. And so we got to figure how to do things better. Dr. Ben Carson, who established economic zones in America, and he's doing a great thing. I got to meet with him. Me and my friend Raul from Latinos for Tennessee got to meet with him in his office, talk about how we like to expand and partner with him. You know what we need to do is we need to let our entrepreneur loose. We need to loosen our energy sector. The Permian Basin in Odessa, we got enough oil to do what when Trump was in office, Jesse, we were exporting more oil than ever, and now we released our strategic reserves, and China buys it. It don't make no sense.
Yeah, and they need to do a better job when we have winning issues. Like, to me, I think the man going to the women's restrooms and all that, that's a winning issue for us. When all the candidates and all that, that's the main question that they should ask the other candidate. Hey, are you for this putting man in women's restroom? Because no minorities, Latinos and all that,
No.
we don't support that. We don't want that. Even women don't want that. They don't want men going, and that's like a good issue with it, and they need to do on winning issues like that. Look at, like you were saying, the economy, inflation, the gas price, like not even the egg prices of eggs, like everything's going all terrible. They need to do a better job of hiding it, 'cause we already know the left. All they're gonna do is racism and this other nonsense. They need to stick on it. Like, no, look at the economy and all that, and look at, they're trying to put men and women's restrooms. You know what I mean? They're trying to ram all this stuff down our
Well,
throats and all that.
I
They
think
need to
just
stay on message better.
no, you're exactly right. And here's the other thing: is because the federal government is not acting. You got to look at it this way, two ways. I think it's a spiritual issue because the homosexual agenda is dark and devious. If you want to tell me that you're going to teach my kids through a transgender drag queen, and guys like Kirk Cameron come and can teach a Bible study, let me tell you something. It's hypocritical. Now, if you're going to tell me that guy who was supposed to be a transgender raped 2 girls and then in Virginia and then hid it from the parent and then called us terrorists because we're defending our children, something needs to be done at the state level. That's why I'm great that, let me tell you how the Latino had impact about that. That rose up the issue, and Latinos in Virginia got involved and put Youngkin. They put a white governor, a African-American lieutenant governor, and a Latino attorney general. Why? Latinos were 56% of the vote Republican in Virginia. So you talk about the same sex, you can talk about same sex marriage, but if you talk about our children in the future, each state needs to rise up because our federal government is lacking. And so they're using Title VI to change that rule. So here's the important thing. In Tennessee, we put rules, girls and girls sports, boys and boys. If you are a boy, you stay in boy sports. We don't need no Mia Thomas in Tennessee. We don't need Mia Thomas and in all the, but the blue states are opening it up, and they're opening the Pandora box. And now our kids who are relying on a scholarship are being robbed of all this because of this issue. So transgender is another devious thing that is coming to our local schools and our libraries. So we got to speak up. And I agree with you. We ought to ask politicians, where do you stand on it? Are you saying it's equal rights? Because it's not equal right. Because here's the important thing is, I'm Latino. I can't change the color of my skin unless I bleach it like Sammy Sosa. Okay, look. Okay, you either a boy or you a girl. And let me tell you something. You can't be in between. You're not buying. Don't give me that pronoun and that noun sound. You're a male or female. God made it. Don't come with your Steve and Adam and all this other. No, you are a male or you're a female. In the story.
Exactly. Only 2. But I want to close it up, brother. But thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully I can get out there to Tennessee.
We're going to get you, brother.
With you, brother. And it was a pleasure having you on, brother. Sorry about the technical difficulties at the beginning, brother. But much love, brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Are you going to run again for office again?
We're praying. I lost by 153 votes in my state representative race, and it's been a Democratic district since the time of Lincoln, so I almost turned it. But no, I'm running for party chair in our county to we got to take back our school board and get involved and get more people engaged. And so but I'm still gonna stay in politics. Like I said, the future's bright, and Latinos. We got 50 Latino kids turning 18 every 2 days here in Tennessee. So the future's bright. 360% growth of Latinos. So I'm gonna stay engaged, and I appreciate Jesse your support.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. See you guys next week.
Hi, this is Kathy DeHart with DeHart Construction Services, located right here in the Inland Empire. You know, we're a family-owned business, and today our youngest member of our family is visiting. Kinsey, can you say hi?
Hi.
Now, Kinsey, I have an important question for you. Where do you think food comes from?
A market store?
You're right. But before it gets to a market, we have farmers and dairies and all kinds of other people who make food. Do you remember hearing that?
Uh-huh.
And then we have people who have to keep the food cold.
And guess what?
What?
I remember we getting strawberries at a litter market.
Well, Papa and we work with companies that make food and keep food cold and gets it to the grocery stores.
That's cool.
DCS is a proud supporter of the American Dream. For all of your cold storage or food facility needs, visit our website at chillwithdheart.com. Once again, chillwithdheart.com. Serving all of California, CSLB 949062.